Hello everybody, it's the Ghoulish Gamer here, and in today's video, before any of other Pokemon Champions content, I really wanted to talk about all the new Mega Evolutions that we got from Pokemon Legends ZA, as well as the DLC. I kind of went back and forth a lot on how I wanted to do this video. I was a little bit behind the game on this. I know we could have started talking about at least the stat spread of these Pokemon, even leading up to Pokemon Champions, since we had already had access to that from the game. And I'm not going to be talking about any of the former Mega Evolution Pokemon 2 that we had access to back in like Generation 6 and 7. We're only going to be talking about the new ones, but rather than talking about every single Pokemon, I just want to specifically focus on the Pokemon that are in the game right now, the ones whose abilities we are aware of, the ones we have access to for playing. Now, I do have every single one in here, and in Showdown, we do have access to their stat spreads, so I'm going to very briefly touch on every Pokemon, but the primary focus of this video, again, is going to be only the Pokemon that are available right now for this first season in Pokemon Champions. And if you're watching this video later on down the road, I will be doing more videos on these guys as these Pokemon start to roll out and we get access to all of them, so not to fret. We will talk about that, like their abilities, and take a deeper dive too. I am also planning on doing a moveset guide for every single one of these Pokemon at some point or another, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to do a much deeper dive and talk about some of the relevance to some of the possible movesets that we can run on these guys. But without any further ado, let's kind of hop into things so you can see what I'm talking about here. So right off the bat, these are just in national dex order here. We're just going to go through the list. Mega Raichu X and Y are not in the games right now. I just really want to briefly look at their stat spread. So they're kind of following that trend that we saw with like Mega Charizard X and Y and Mewtwo X and Y, where the X version is a physical attacker and then the Y version is a special attacker. If these are going to be Raichu X's stats, this is kind of underwhelming without some sort of incredible ability, so we'll have to wait and see what the ability is. And yes, I am aware that there's a leak of potential abilities for all the Pokemon that are not in the game. I'm not going to touch on that right now. So 135 attack is alright, it's respectable, but the 110 on the speed just feels kind of slow. That's what base Raichu already has access to. And in a Mega Evolution format where your defenses are not that stellar, I mean 60 hit on the hit points for a Mega is pretty awful. That just really doesn't hold up well in my opinion. I was also really hoping for something like a fighting type, dual type too, just to get some more coverage for your offensive attacks, and I think that we're going to maintain the base electric attack that we saw with the DLC. So overall pretty underwhelming, but Raichu Y on the other hand, with 130 on the speed and 160 on the special attack, looks much more promising. Now, we definitely still get outsped by some major threats that are going to be accessible in the format too. A lot of Mega Evolution Pokemon have much higher speed stats than this for our sweepers, and even Pokemon like Qingpao and Fluttermane that will eventually be coming to the game will also have higher speed stats than this. But 160 on the special attack is definitely respectable. I'm hoping it will still have access to things like Surf and possibly like Focus Blast and Grass Knot. So I definitely think that there's going to be a lot of potential with Nasty Plot and just be able to get up and going too with the Raichu Y. So I'm very, very excited for that. Mega Clefable is a Pokemon that we already have access to, and it's probably one of the ones I'm the most excited for. So I kind of touched on this in my pre-Pokemon Champions video where I talked about all the Pokemon we knew that were coming to. That Clefable, base Clefable, is still a great Pokemon. It's straight great competitive Pokemon. But with all the power creep that we've seen with recent generations of Pokemon, it's kind of lost its footing as one of the best. It still does some really good things, like Unaware and Magic Bounce are two of the best abilities in the game. You've got decent stats and an amazing move pool. So there's no denying that base Clefable is still a really good Pokemon. But I think what they did with Mega Clefable is perfect, where they took a Pokemon that had kind of gotten left behind a little bit with some of the power creep and then revitalized it now with a Mega form in a modern Pokemon context. Magic Bounce is probably the best ability in the game outside of things like Golden Go's ability, and even then I think that there's an argument to be made for Magic Bounce. So we get 95 on the hit points, 110 on the special defense, a little bit higher special defense, 93 on the defense too. So decent natural bulk, 70 on the speed's nothing to write home about, but then 130 on the 135 on the special attack is going to be pretty awesome, honestly. So you also have the flying type now, which we've seen for things like Togekiss being pretty decent defensive typings. I just think that this is really awesome. And when you think about the combination of your pre-Mega Evolution ability to whether you want to go for the Unaware or the Magic Bounce, there's really, really good synergy with that in the Mega Evolution. So what I'm kind of leading towards doing is going for Unaware Clefable. That way you have an answer to some of those special attackers that are trying to set up. You can go in, set up on them. You can potentially even use a Psych Up too if you wanted to do something goofy like stealing the stats of something like a Espathra that's trying to set up on you. But ignore all their stats. You set up on them, whether you're going Calm Mind or Cosmic Power. And then if you need to, you can Mega Evolve. So if you're anticipating something like a Toxic to stall you down, Magic Bounce does not protect against Curse. So that's the one thing you have to be careful for. But a lot of those hazards and stuff like that, you can Magic Bounce, protect yourself so that you're not going to be able to get like roared out of there and swapped out. Something of that nature, which is just absolutely incredible. And then also getting that extra special attack investment too. Getting the stab on the flying type 2 if you wanted to go that route is just really, really awesome. So I think that Mega Clefable is definitely Pokemon, especially in a singles context where you could run that with another Mega on the team, have multiple options, and you can still bring Clefable and have a lot of usage out of it, especially with the Unaware too, having that answer to some of those setup Pokemon as like an anti-setup wall. And then if you need be, you can Mega Evolve too, just to kind of give yourself that contingency, give yourself that extra stats, those extra stats. But you're also not locked into it too, and you have the option to Mega Evolve with another Pokemon if you need be. So I'm just super, super excited to try out Mega Clefable. We're definitely going to be building a team around it, and I'm really excited to see what this guy does. Mega Victory Bell is also in the game here, and we have the Innards Out ability, which is actually the same ability as Pyukumuku. But the nice thing about this is you actually are working with a much higher hit point stat. And if you're unaware of what this ability does in Innards Out, it basically, if you have any given amount of health left, that hit point total, if they knock you out with like a physically damaging move, and that can be like anything like an Ice Beam, Double Edge, anything like that, just anything that does damage to you and it knocks you out, now you're going to do the equivalent of that hit point back to them. It's kind of like Aftermath, but it will do the hit point amount. So that's really, really interesting to see on a Pokemon with much more hit points than something like a Pyukumuku. You also have a really threatening offenses too. We get a nice little bump in our attack stat and our special attack stat. So I haven't really cracked the code on this yet. I'm going to have to do some thinking when we do a moveset guide on this guy on how we want to synergize this and fit into our team. But I really like the concept of it. I think it's a really nice contingency to where if the opponent gets set up really hard on you and you're trying to find a way to counter this, rather than using something like a Ditto or an Unaware Pokemon, you can actually come in with a Mega Victory Bell and potentially just Mega Evolve, and now they have to kind of contend, do I really want to sacrifice this Pokemon? Am I going to switch out? And then you're also pressuring them with those nice offensive stats too. I could see this Pokemon like Mega Victory Bell being run on a Sun team, where you run it like a Chlorophyll Sweeper 2 with the regular Victory Bell again, and then you have that Mega Evolution as a contingency where if you get in a bad situation, you have the option to Mega Evolve and now just put that pressure to where if they try to damage you and knock you out, now you're going to be doing that recoil damage back to them. But then in the other situations where you're not Mega Evolving, you just have a really powerful Chlorophyll Sweeper. So again, a really, really interesting one, and we're going to have to talk more about this in the future, but I'm really excited to see what this guy will end up doing. Mega Starmie here, those stats don't look too crazy right off the bat. I'm actually probably going to try this Pokemon as a special attacker too, even though we have the huge power ability, just to kind of catch some people off guard too, because most people are going to be anticipating you having that doubled attack stat with that very solid 100 base attack. 120 speeds, nothing crazy. Again, we've talked about the speed tiering kind of getting out of hand, but when you have that much power packed behind your punch, that is absolutely insane. So we've seen similar things with like Mega Medicham with the pure power, and then also Mega Mawile at similar attack stats. We know that this does a lot of damage here. I'm blanking on if you get access to Sword Stance. I don't think you do. You probably have like Sharpen or Workup or something like that to just get some damage out there. You could potentially run this at a rain team too, just to get those double that double damage on your water type stab attacks. But you've got some really interesting coverage options, and I'm just really, really excited to see what this does. I don't think this is going to be one of the best Mega Evolutions by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a fun one. Also, you get a nice little decent bump to your defenses, too. So you're going to be hard to knock out in one hit. 60 is still pretty low on the hit points there, but pretty fun one overall. Mega Dragonite in singles, I think, is going to be kind of bad. I'm not going to lie. 100 on the speed's not really getting you that far, and there's no like quiver dance or anything that's going to boost your offensive damage output in addition to your speed. You really need both. If you already have speed support, it might help. You're pretty decent if you have the rain set up, so you have access to things like Stab, Hurricane, which is going to do a lot of damage, especially with that 145 special attack. Thunder, and Hydro Pump and Surf too under the rain can be okay. But I just think that base Dragonite already being one of the best Pokemon in the game, and especially once we have access to Terrestrialization, it is going to be just absolutely broken. Wasting your Mega Evolution slot and your battle gimmick in general on something like a Mega Dragonite is just not very good. It's kind of cool that you can go the special route now, but I'm not too thrilled with this guy. Mega Meganium's a really fun one, and I like this in concept, but I think that it's still going to really struggle to get going. So base 80 speed is nice. It'd be nice if it got a little bit of a bump there, but at least if you go max speed, you get a lot of usage out of that. That's one of those important speed tiers where you're going to be speed tying a ton of really important Pokemon like base Dragonite, and many others that I'm blanking to mention right now. But your Mega Soul ability, I think, is probably the most interesting thing about it. So you go from already a pretty naturally bulky Pokemon with those really decent defense stats and a respectable 80 hit points to now having a massive 143 special attack. And then the Mega Soul is going to allow you to basically have the effect of having Sun Up without actually having to have the Sunny Day effect up. So things like Solar Beam now will get charged in one turn all times, even during the rain. And then also something like photosynthesis will heal you 75% of your health back too. So that's really, really interesting. If you get access to growth, which I almost think you might, we'll have to check on that. I don't think you do. That would also give you double, but it does not look like he has access to growth at this time in the game. But it's kind of fun. I definitely think that I could see a world on a rain team where this works well. If you have Sticky Web up, you could be a pretty decent sweeper with that high special attack stat. So we'll just have to wait and see. Do you get Weather Ball too? You do get Weather Ball. So that's actually kind of sick. I really like the idea of this on a rain team, just so that you can kind of deal with that fire weakness pretty well. You are still 4 times weak to the poison, which is very unfortunate. Weak to ice and a lot of other things, but you have enough natural defenses that I think that you can still survive a super effective attack unless they have some sort of damage modifier. So we'll just have to wait and see. More of a fun gimmick than anything, but definitely really interesting idea there. Mega Feraligatr with the Dragonize. Dragonize is kind of like Pixelate or any one of those abilities that they turn normal types into, in this case, a Dragon type move, and then you get a little bit of a damage output boost on it as well. It is an interesting idea. Now, you do have a really solid attack stat here. 78 on the speed's a little bit unfortunate, to where even something like a Dragonite going full speed, Jolly, and then one Dragon Dance, they're going to outspeed you. And then with that Dragon weakness, now you're just going to be able to be knocked out super, super easily by someone like a Dragonite. So that's a little bit unfortunate there. You do probably have access to the skill shot, so you can probably snowball a little bit. And with one Dragon Dance and a 160 attack stat, you can probably go Adamant, max speed, max attack, go for a scale shot if you can pick off a Pokemon, just get your speed up, and then start sweeping from there. So I do think that there's going to be some things that this Pokemon can do. But honestly, if you're going the Dragon Dance route, I like just base Feraligatr with a Life Orb, and then you're not wasting your Mega slot on it anyway. Getting the stab damage on the Dragon type moves is going to be really nice too. I'm assuming you get access to Double Edge here is probably going to be your most powerful physical attacking option, unless you want to go for something like a Slash or a Body Slam. Not going to be one of the best Mega Evolution Pokemon in my opinion, but definitely something you still have to respect. Again, like I said, if you can go Dragon Dance and then a Scale Shot, I think this Pokemon's going to get up and going pretty fast, and you definitely have to respect it for what it is. Mega Skarmory is interesting. Now, Stalwart's more of a doubles ability to where you can't get redirected by something like a Rage Powder or a Follow Me. But I think even ignoring its ability in a singles context here, that 110 speed with the 140 attack and then that dual typing too is a really solid offensive dual typing with the Steel Flying. Can have a lot of potential. So what we can do is run something like Weak Armor beforehand. We can Weak Armor, set up a Sword Stance. You already have that really nice natural speed stat. So set up Sword Stance on a physical attacker. Hopefully you eat a hit, survive it. It's going to proc your Weak Armor to where your defense is going to drop, which won't even matter. Get a +2 speed boost. You Mega Evolve the next turn, and now you can start sweeping with a +2 attack, +2 speed, 140 attack Pokemon with dual stab coverage, which is really, really awesome. You can do something. Do you have dual Wing Beat in the game? So dual Wing Beat might be a really nice option, so we're not taking recoil from something like a Brave Bird. Brave Bird will do a ton of damage though too if we want that, just for that immediate offensive pressure. We've got access to things like Iron Head for our other coverage options here. Drill Run. There's a lot of really, really cool things we can do with this. Night Slash. You've got X Scissor and Rock Slide, so just tons of coverage options that this Pokemon's going to be really, really cool. I could even see something like a Facade too if they try to burn you, being a really nice way to get out of a tricky situation. I'm really, really excited to try this Pokemon out. I think a lot of people are not going to be trying Mega Skarmory out in singles just because this ability is more doubles focused. But really, really fun Pokemon overall, and I'm really excited to try out, like I said. So Mega Chimecho is another one of the Pokemon that's in the game right now. You're pretty interesting to where we are very slow still, but we get a nice bump to our defenses and then a decent special attack. We can set up with like Cosmic Power or Calm Mind, and then we have the Stored Power too, Stab Sword Power. So that can always be a really strong combination to have those things, but I still feel like something like a Mega Clefable is going to be just so much stronger here. Now, Psychic Steel is kind of interesting. You get some nice resistances here. What do we have for Steel type moves too? Flash Cannon is going to be pretty much it. So not doing anything too crazy there, but that can be kind of nice for your coverage options as well. And I'm assuming as a special attacker, you get access to some pretty interesting coverage moves like Dazzling Gleam, got Grass Knot, and do we get Thunderbolt sometimes? No, just Thunder Wave. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Again, I think that Mega Clefable is going to be much stronger than this, but it's got some potential to do a decent amount of damage, so nice that it is in the game as well. Mega Absol we do not have access to, thankfully, Mega Absol Z. But just looking at its stats, I just want to point out the power creep here. So something like a Mega Alakazam has a base speed set of 150, which I think there's no need to power creep that anymore, speed creep that. Now we're starting to see a 151 speed stat with something like a Mega Absol Z and then also the Garchomp Z. That's too fast in my opinion. Like, I don't know what they're thinking with this. 154 on the attack stat too is absolutely ridiculous. We'll have to wait and see what its ability is going to be here, but this Pokemon is just absolutely bonkers. And you already have access to something like a strong Sucker Punch too. To now have Sucker Punch on a 154 attack stat. You also have Ghost, Dual type offensive coverage, and then just at a ridiculous speed stat. This Pokemon is going to be bonkers. I'm honestly not looking forward to these super fast Pokemon coming into the game. Thankfully, we do not have to deal with it yet, but this Pokemon's going to be an absolute menace. So that's going to do it for the end of this video here. We're going to actually break this up into 3 different parts since I don't want to make this too long for one video. But thank you so much for watching. I am super excited for all the Pokemon Champions content here. We've got moveset videos coming out pretty soon, moveset guides, as well as battle videos too. I had actually recorded a bunch of battle videos and then I had messed up the audio, so I'm gonna have to voice over the ones that I have recorded, but super excited to get those out and looking forward to it. I will see you in the next one here. This is the Ghoulish Gamer out.